thank you. So once we do all this engagement, we'll need a way at the end of the process to validate this. Most of our planning efforts are going to go in front of decision makers, whether for formal adoption or just for a vote of confidence or funding in the future. So throughout the process, it's really important to generate support for your revised community engagement process from decision makers. It's advisable to engage them as you're tweaking and redeveloping your online strategies or any other community engagement techniques that you decide to use, so they understand how the current environment is, what type of challenges the current environment is presenting, and how you as an agency and consultants are able to modify the approach and why it's still successful. You also using those decision makers as advocates for the process and using them and their voices to help with advertising and validating the process that you've selected is going to be incredibly important to the public, the agency, and any constituents moving forward and acknowledging that this is an acceptable method of community engagement. And then when we get to the back end of the project, there's usually a validation phase in most projects where we're saying to the community, this is what we heard and this is what we're proposing. Do you agree? Did we get it right, or are there additional comments? Making sure that the public has truly felt heard, because we've all had those one or two people who've showed up and said, wait a second, I didn't get a chance to participate, or wait a second, I said XYZ in that first meeting and I don't see how that was incorporated in the final recommendations. I think that an online engagement process or a refined engagement process based on the current social distancing is going to make this validation phase even more critical. Having some sort of way to present the entire process, the ways that we reached out and advertised the different forms of community engagement, how diversified they were, presenting that to the community, and then asking the question and making sure that you leave room in the process for a little bit of refinement after you hear from your community, just in case there are still people who were not able to feel like they were heard or involved. The potential for an extra community engagement meeting on the back end is certainly a possibility during these times. We all want to be able to take these plans and these community engagement processes in front of decision makers on the back end and make sure that they're comfortable approving plans and funding them for the future. And next slide. I think that's the end of the presentation.